Finding my breath when I just want to scream, hiding the face I don't want you to see. Making a mess of myself, trying to be like you, like you.
Hey guys, Shane at Read the Wonder. Back again. I just did my 100 question video. And while that was happening, I had my package delivered right here. I've already opened it, and it is the Tarot of Musterberg. Oh, so excited! So I was lucky enough to find one on eBay, brand new. Somebody was selling in the United States, so I didn't have to order from overseas and pay the massive shipping and the long wait. I got this just a few days after ordering it, and it looks like he literally got this from Collect Tarot and then sold it. So it even came with this lovely little magnet here of the sun, Le Soleil, maybe is how you say it, from Collect Tarot. So how awesome is that? Just a bonus. And then here is the Tarot of Musterberg. Super excited about it. Okay, so there it is. You got the Siren. That's an extra card in their major. I think it comes, yeah, it's 22, so it's the end line of their major there. And I'll probably take that out, but it's still a very cool card. So yeah, it's brand new, like you said. It hasn't been opened. And I think what I'm going to do is, it's not tucked at the bottom, but I am going to just see if I can gently, to keep that stamp intact, I want to open it from the bottom and see if that's going to be possible. Oh, it's pretty well glued on there though. Maybe slowly but surely. I usually don't care much about stamps, but it's an $80 deck. I've never spent that much on a deck, so well, it seemed to kind of work. Let's see if I can get this up too. Maybe I should have done this before I started the video, huh? Make you guys wait. That's rude of me. I'm out enjoying the day today. I've never done a video like this outside, but I'm on my little back porch here, and it's about 70 degrees. There's a very light breeze, so it is just perfect weather. Oh, okay, that just came right up. I don't know what that says underneath it. So, got it. So if I ever wanted to just glue it back down, I could easily do that. So there it is. As you can already see, it's a very thick deck. And it does come with a little white book. I did know that. I had forgotten though. So I'm gonna pull these suckers out. Now, people rave about this cardstock. And I see exactly what they mean. It's amazing. Oh, it is. It's just got that very papery feel. I don't know if there's any lamination on it at all. I mean, there's no sheen at all. It doesn't look like there's any lamination. How cool. They're a little bit smaller than I thought they would be, which is awesome. This is like the perfect size right here. So, I don't like overly large tarot cards. I like to riffle shuffle. And I can already tell just by, yes. Okay, so we gotta make this quick because my battery's dying, or it's going to die. So, this is actually marketed kind of as a game. I mean, it says right on here for gameplay and cartomancy. So it's for both. And I have no idea how to play tarot the game, but look at that, rules for tarot card game. So I actually have a little rule book if I ever wanted to play tarot with somebody. And then, if I'm not mistaken, oh, look at that. Okay, so you have game rules here, and you flip it around and you have the cartomancy guide. So congratulations and welcome to the team at the Fortune Teller tent here at Pennyland. We are a fun-loving and easygoing group despite what the folks at the Tunnel of Love may say, and you're sure to like it here. In addition to the standard rules for employment elsewhere in the park, the Fortune Teller tent has a few more guidelines to follow. And it gives you some guidelines. Very cool. Getting started, the reading, hopeful future, and then The Major Arcana. There's like a little paragraph each, which is super cool, super cool. And then the Minor Arcana, again, just short little paragraphs. But that's cool that you get that with this. It'll be interesting to see their take on the cards and to read the rule book. That's just so interesting to me. So these are made to look. It's obvious. It's not a vintage deck. It's not a reproduction or anything. They're made to look like they're historical in there. I don't know the exact details, but there's like a comic book where this detective, I think it is, I think, I could be totally wrong, but he works in Pennyland, and this is the cards they supposedly, I'm dying, they supposedly use in Pennyland. So we're going to see how far I can get. We're going to go through it really quick, just the major, so you guys can see them. I'm kind of really regretting not having charged my phone a bit more, because I know I'm going to actually want to talk about this. But we're going to flip through really quick. These cards are amazing, guys. They're amazing. Okay, so the Fool.
All the way over there.
The Magician.
Oh.
The High Priestess. And I really love... I typically don't like High Priestesses that look like they're part of the clergy. Like that, the Popess, you know, I typically don't like that, but this High Priestess, it only took me a minute to really look at it and decide that I adored it. I adored it. Look, it's just like, she, you know, and the High Priestess to me is all about, you know, inner knowledge and intuition and deeper thought and laws of the universe as opposed to laws of the world. And here it's like she's going about her task, she's writing all of her, you know, whatever she needs to write, and then she finally is just like, okay, that's enough. She's kind of looking over like that, and like, I'm done with this mundane task of writing. You know, because she's more focused on spiritual knowledge, in my opinion, rather than the Hierophant we see, who would be doing this more mundane, worldly law, you know, I don't know how to, you know what I'm trying to say, but so I love that High Priestess. The Empress, and what I already noticed and other people have talked about is the animals in this deck have a little bit of a personality, which I really love. You can't really tell here, which just the kind of eye that it has. So the Emperor. There's our Hierophant. The Lovers. And this is a Marseille style Major Arcana. And it is a pip deck, but the pips are not in the style of Marseille. And I will show you those really quick. So, Lovers. The Chariot. Only one horse, and it's brown, not white or black. So I'm really gonna love exploring with this deck and looking at the meanings and feeling. Well, look at the expression on the horse. And I know the knights are like that too. The horses really have a personality, so I adore that. Justice. And then we got the little animals down there. Look at like a little rooster or chicken with its little baby chicks. So awesome. The Hermit. It's a redhead deck, which I knew and I heard about, and people have said that it really reminds them of like the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons, and it does. It does. Interesting. Look at that wheel. Wheel of Fortune. Steering her ship. There's quite a bit of symbology, you know, in here. I think we just have to look for it. It is a little bit cartoony, a little bit tongue-in-cheek, as people would say, but not so much that it's comical or unusable, and that's what I really loved about this deck. It's lighthearted while remaining true, and it just really works for me. Fortitude is our strength in this deck. I'm never a fan of when they're prying the lion's mouth shut. So this is one I will have to work on. I knew this before getting it. It's not my favorite kind of strength card, but I'll figure out how I'm going to use that. The Hangman Death. And this Death is sailing on his river Styx, it looks like. Do you guys hear these cards? You can just tell what kind of papery. I love that sound. Temperance. The creature replaces the devil, and I find this one, he's not super intimidating, but he's still a creature, and I find that very interesting. I'm wondering if the because other people have mentioned there's only like 3 or 4 videos on this deck on YouTube, which I was very surprised about. So not a whole lot of talk about it or people's, other people's opinions. So please feel free if you have opinions on any of these cards to let me know, because I'm looking to talk about this deck and hear other people's points of view, because it's not talked about very often. But this little guy interests me. Like, what does that mean? In fact, I'm going to... It almost looks like an urn, but it's a very sad urn. I'm going to look up the creature here and see if it says anything about it. Really quick, this card symbolizes being caught between a rock and a hard place. The creature, a combination of the stuff of nightmares, represents the powers of destruction. He carries an urn, upon which a face can be seen, which signifies being ensnared by obsessions and negative forces. An eye on the ground symbolizes benevolent forces are watching. There's an eye on the ground. Benevolent forces are watching, but they are powerless to help. However, the lid of the urn isn't closed, so there is a hope of escape, but it will still be a struggle to break free of the darkness. Wow! That's exactly the devil. It's exactly the devil. That urn makes a lot more sense now. And I love it because it symbolizes kind of the death or the stagnation or the decay that we feel when we are trapped in those desires or lusts or dark places that are really terrible for us. I love the eye down here, the divine eye that can see us, but this is something we have to do for ourselves. We have to figure it out, and we can jump out of that urn. Okay, so I did die. My phone died, and I am back. Had to shift things around so I could plug my phone into a little outlet here. So, okay, I was moving right along. We were on the creature, and I'm going to move this a little bit closer if I can. Okay, so yeah, we were talking. I think it didn't die before I was talking about and read about how the urn represents our entrapment. So I'm really liking that. This divine eye can see what's going on, but can't help us in this situation. This is something that we have to do for ourselves. So I really like. I don't even mind that it's. In fact, I actually quite love that it is renamed the creature. It takes the religious symbolism right out of there. It's not the devil. It's just a creature, which is really what those inner desires that really nag at us and really are not good for us, what those are. There's a difference between our animal selves or our base selves and taming that, and then there is our creature, our real creature that's really holding us up. So, fucking amazing card right there. The Tower. And you see a lot of these are they're very, very traditional. I'm just loving it. I love the artwork. I love the whole feel of the deck. The stars we have here instead of the star, and I rather love that. I love when it's called the stars because we don't have one star. We have one moon and one sun, but we have billions of stars. So this is stars representing all of our hopes. All of our hopes. Love that. The moon. And again, we only have the one dog, not the two. I do like to see 2 dogs. To me it kind of symbolizes our, I don't know, it kind of symbolizes the lighter and dark side of our inner being to me, or our shadow selves. But when it comes right down to it, I have one shadow self. I don't have multiple shadow selves, and that's what the moon is about to me, is the moon reveals that, the shadow self, and what that represents to me. So the one dog really does work. I usually don't like faces and moons, but or planets, but I don't mind that one at all. It's kind of ugly, but it works. It just works with the deck. And he's howling at the moon, and the scenery is just awesome. Yes. The sun, I love this sun. I mean, I've already seen these cards, and I just love it. There's no babies. It's just a fulfillment, a brightness, Although they don't look extremely sure, especially her sitting on this ledge. Her face looks kind of like she's not sure. So that's interesting. And again, I can't wait to work with these and really sit with them and figure out what their meanings are for me. And then Judgment. It's cute. Cheeky without being way over the top cheeky where you can't even imagine using it. I love it. And Judgment is, to me, that judgment call. What are you doing with yourself? What do you need to do differently? What am I being called for? And then being reborn into that stage of my life. And so that's kind of like what looks like these skeletons are doing. And then the world. Look at her on that, I think, that stream of water standing on top of the world. She's got... I would call that like the truth of the universe written on her scroll. And then just these little animal faces are just so endearing. Look at those. I absolutely adore it. And then next should be the Siren. And just for those who are interested, I will read, because I haven't read this and I really don't know what the Siren is, except that it's number 22. So the Siren, see what they have to say about it. This is a special card that won't be found anywhere else since it's exclusive to our deck here at Pennyland, their fictional place. So make a big deal when it shows up. The Siren symbolizes enchantment and beguiling beauty, signaling that more glamour and charm will come into your life. In addition, the fish looking up... I should be showing this card while I'm reading it, huh? In addition, where was I? The fish looking up adoringly signifies the growing respect and admiration from those around you. The Siren also represents the beckoning call of adventure and the promise of the unknown, so a journey of excitement and freedom is on the horizon. Finally, an infinity symbol floats above her head, which signifies unfading charms and boundless adventure ahead. In short, enchantment and thrills await you here at Pennyland. So this would be to me the very gimmicky part of this deck. I was just talking to Simon about how this deck is a little, it's a little bit gimmicky, and there's a hang up there. And that's where you find their stamp, is on this Siren card. So I don't know if I will ever use this in the deck. I'm not opposed to it, but I'd really have to think about it and really what that means, especially as a major card. Beauty and glamour and unending adventure. It sounds lovely. So I may eventually use it, but at the same time, it's a little bit... I don't know where it would fit into the major. It's not the end card. Or maybe it is, when all's said and done, and we have gotten through all the trials and tribulations, and they're growing, and we've gotten, a hold of ourselves, and we've gotten to the sun, and then we're called to our, our higher purpose, and then we have the world in our hands. What is left after that is this sense of unending beauty and fascination and adventure and experience. So, if I'm looking at it from that way, this card really could represent the world. I'm just not a big fan of, or the end of the majors. I'm not a big fan of things being added. I like tradition, but I love this deck. And I really, when I'm thinking about it, I love the meaning behind that card if I'm going to use it in that way. So that's the major. I don't think there was anything else I wanted to say. I was going through it rather quickly because I thought my battery was going to die, and now I have more time. But that's it for the major. The minors, they're gorgeous. Again, I love the colors. I love the setup. They're beautiful. I love, yeah. So I'll at least flip through the swords here. So, like I said, they are pips, but they are not Marseille. They're not styled in that way. The two actually says Curio and Company down there, which is who makes this deck. But there's just enough. I don't like I have the Tarot of the Master, and that is also not Marseille. It's pips, but they're very illustrated. Not in the same way that Rider Waite's are or anything like that, but they're illustrated, and it's almost too much. There's ribbons and banners and things flying around, and it was too much for me in the Tarot of the Master. This is just a very good compromise. It's not too boring or plain. It's just enough illustrations to make the card feel lively. So 2 of Swords, 3 of Swords, 4, 5, 6, and from what I can see, they're set up in a way where it's very easy to read fairly quickly what number that is. Yeah, you can easily tell, especially if you spend just a little bit of time with them, without really having to think about it. What number they are. So this is our 10. And then we have our court cards. So there is the Knave, is what we have our pages as in here. The Knave of Swords. And, he's just beginning his journey, and he might be swinging his sword a little bit recklessly at this point. So it works well for that court card. And here's where we talk about, what I was saying earlier, the horses have, we'll take a look at the other knights, but the knights seem pretty just kind of passive in their facial expressions, kind of. But the horses have a personality, and that is just super awesome to me. So there is our knight. This is a Knight of Swords, Queen of Swords. I love, one of my favorite cards in the decks in the tarot is the Queen of Swords, and here she's balancing. She's balancing her sword. She's balancing justice. She's balancing her mind. So it works so well for that Queen of Swords. King of Swords. All right. So there we have, look at that. Ace of Pentacles. I wonder if are they pentacles in this deck? Does it say? I don't know what they're supposed to be called. They're not labeled. Oh, coins. Okay, so they're labeled on the court. So it's coins in this deck. Just gorgeous. We even have crowns here, so that's interesting. So we have our 2 of coins. And I'm not sure what that says in there. Somebody mentioned it in one of their walkthroughs. Ludus Sinceritas Novitas. So I'm not sure what that is. I'd have to look it up. 3. These are gorgeous, guys. Look at them. 4, 5, 6, 7. But you can see where it's really easy right off the bat to read what number it is. 8, 9, and 10. Culmination there. They're beautiful. They're so beautiful. The color palette really does it, and then just the whole setup is just brilliant. Knave of Coins. That almost looks like it could be a girl or a woman. So a little bit androgynous. That is very cool. I love that. And then you've got her standing on a rock with almost looks like 3 pillars on it. So that's interesting. Something to think about. See if it has anything in the book about that later. But she looks very grounded, so. The Knight of Coins. Look at that horse. See, his face is just kind of passive. Holding up his coin there. And then the horse looks a little bit mischievous, is what I would say for that horse. I love it. And that's how I see the knights. They're a little bit, they have more of a personality than some of the other courts, and they're a little bit more go-getters, and a little bit more out there, a little bit more reckless in ways. So the horses, as their personality, really speaks to me. Queen of Coins. And King of Coins. Looks like a very fatherly figure. Okay. Love that wand. It's just animated and cartoonish enough without being so much that it's a turn off. And I love these leaves. They are done so well and they are so beautiful. That's awesome. Okay, there's our two. Oh, I don't know if they're called, they're probably not wands in here. They are wands. They are called wands. I love their wand style. I love their styles of all of their suits. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 again. That's a little bit different than the other ones. It's set up a little bit oddly. I mean, it's still easy to recognize as the 10, so. The Knave of Wands. It's getting a little bit unruly. Knight of Wands. He's really going for it. And you can't tell if his horse is going for it too, or if he's kind of being what am I trying to look for here? Am I blank sometimes? He's being rebellious. The horse is almost being rebellious. That's what I want to say. But I love it because it's the fire. It's fire. It's fiery. It's alive. It's oh God, it just and that can cause a lot of what am I trying to say, guys? Good God, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I know what I'm thinking. That's what matters. But I mean, this knight really does look like he's just going for it, which is what it's, you know, the knight is in my eyes the most fiery person in the courts in the wands. Is very, very fiery, very go-getter, very full of life. And that's what I'm seeing in both him and the horse. So, great. Queen of Wands. She's beautiful. And King of Wands. You know what? The King of... Now we still have cups to go, but everybody has red hair except that I don't think... I mean, even orangish. And the King of Swords there, a little bit orangish, not as orange, but has that tinge. But what am I looking for? The, I guess even the King of Coins. I thought he had more white hair, but there's a little bit of a yellow orangish tinge, but not as much as the very red orange there. So, cups, ace. Then we've got Ryuko Shaparo. I don't know who that is. It's probably a person, maybe the artist of the deck. So I can look that up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Beautiful. And our last court cards are the Knave of Chalices. These aren't cups, they're chalices. And I love that. Yes. Knight of Chalices. Look at that horse looking at him. Cockeyed. Oh, I really do love. I love that Knight of Chalices. The Knight of Cups or Chalices to me is a very Casanova type figure, he loves to court and he loves to date, and he may seem like he's authentic and maybe he's trying to be, but he's a little wishy-washy, a little flighty. So as charming as he can be, you should probably watch out for him. That's kind of how he looks, a little bit. And then the horses look, I love how the horse is looking at him, like, do you know what you're doing? You know, what are you going to do this time? So love it. The Queen of Chalices, look at her. She's a little bit different than all the other figures. I love her face. Just beautiful. It's almost like she has a little, I don't know what that is, like a little umbrella in her chalice. So maybe she's having a cocktail. And the King of Chalices. Look at his face, his pursed lips. He might be a little bit tipsy there. He looks like he could be a few drinks in. And that works for the King of Chalices. You know, drunk with love. And that's it, guys. You get one blank card. And I'm not ever sure what blank cards are for. For me, a lot of times I'll test anything that I think I'm gonna do with edging, or I've been distressing a little bit lately and testing it on these cards. I'm not going to do anything with this deck. If I do anything, it would be doing like the antique linen or something to the edges, because they are white. And maybe trying to match it to the more papery tan color of the cards. Okay. That's it. I will give these one last shuffle that you're not going to be able to see unless I could do it on my lap here. Let's see if we could do this. And I'll tip this down so you can see them being shuffled. I've seen it done, and I'd like you to be able to look at my white pasty legs. My goodness. Okay, so I think that works. So you can see it's very thick cardstock. Love that. But they're still, look at that. I don't know what these are made out of, but they're awesome. They're just super bendy still. So I'm going to just, there we go. And it is beautiful. You can hear it. You can, and I can of course feel it. One more. Well, maybe I'm just not a good riffle shuffler. And they're bending. I don't like that. Ooh, they're bending. They bend really easy. So I'm gonna do this really lightly, and then riffle them back and see if that helps the bend. It does. They straighten out. I don't think I will be doing. They straighten right back out, but that worries me. They're very easy to bend, but they seem to snap back into place. But it's such an expensive deck, I wouldn't want to do that too much to them, so I'm going to be very careful when doing that. But the feeling of this deck, guys, everything. I love that the corners are not super rounded at all. They're very, very slightly rounded, giving it, again, a little bit more of a vintage feel. And they're just the perfect size for me. Especially with such a thick deck, they're very easy, they're very manageable. I think this is going to be my working deck for now. I'm really going to work with this. I've been studying up a lot more on numerology, which is, I was just talking to somebody about how I wanted to use numerology and its meanings more in my readings as opposed to traditional meanings for a variety of reasons. But I think that this deck will work very, very well with that. Here we have the King of Swords. So, God, I'm really just looking forward to diving into this deck and getting to know it. And I'll do an update at some point, you know, it might be a while from now, but I'll do an update video on what I'm learning with this deck and how it's working out. And that's all I got for now. Please, because there are so few videos on this and so little talk, leave any comments about any of the cards or overall. Leave the comments below and I will definitely respond if you want to talk about it, or if you have any questions about it, then I can answer, because there's not a whole lot of information. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'm sorry it took me so long to make a couple more videos, but there you have it, and here I am. And I'll be back soon with another one. All right. Have a great day wherever you're at in that day, and I'll see you soon.